The wiggler and the smoother sound like villains that Batman would fight. And they're pretty cool, actually. You'll find the option to use these tools in the window menu, and the wiggler and smoother allow you to do some very interesting things. The wiggler will allow you to have any animated property deviate in some fashion. Now, what we're going to do to demonstrate this is we're going to create a film projector type feel, one of those old 1940s projectors, and we're going to put it on the footage of Everest. Or you can simply watch or use any footage that you have. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take the footage of Everest, which, by the way, you will find in your work files folder if you want to follow along. And I'm going to go to Effect, Color Correction, Black and White. Then I'm going to add a brand new solid on top of this footage. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid, and I'll choose some kind of old, like off yellowish, kind of brownish tint color thing to represent my film projector slide on top of this footage. Then I'm going to go ahead and twirl down the opacity by hitting T on my keyboard for the solid. I'll enable the stopwatch. And the reason we have to do this is because the wiggler needs at least 2 keyframes to have some kind of variation in between them. You can't do this on 1 keyframe. So I'm going to drop the opacity down to about 35% on this frame. I'll move over to about 1 second here. I'm going to go ahead and increase that. I go over here to 2 seconds. And I'll drop it down a little bit more like so. Okay, now that I have these frames here, as you see I have 3 frames, I'm going to go to Window, Wiggler. The wiggler opens up in its own panel. And what we can do is choose a noise type. It's very important here. We can choose Smooth or Jagged. Jagged will give you very rough transitions in between the wiggling, and Smooth will give you a more, smooth one. So I'm going to choose Smooth for now. We could choose Jagged later if you want to. And I'm going to go ahead and simply hit Apply. And let's take a look at what we have here. I'll undo that. And you'll notice that these 3 frames, when I hit Apply, all of a sudden turn to a whole bunch of frames. Now, as you can see, my frequency is 5 per second, and my magnitude is 9. I'm going to go ahead and hit Home on my keyboard and hit the spacebar. And now we have that flashing feeling. I'm going to go ahead and once again home and check it out once again. So it's kind of cool. Now you can change the frequency by simply sliding here, and you can change your magnitude to change how this is going to be interpolated or how many keyframes the wiggler is going to generate. All you have to do to get this to show up is hit Apply again, and then you can hit Home on your keyboard and watch. Very cool. So what does the smoother do? Well, the smoother is the anti-wiggler, hence they are arch enemies. The smoother is going to take these keyframes and try to knock it back down. So I'm going to go back to Window, Smoother. The smoother is going to let me work on a tolerance value, and when I hit Apply, it's going to drop those keyframes down. And I'll keep hitting Apply. As you can see, it's dropping all that wiggler stuff down, and when I hit Home and I hit the spacebar to play, you see that we have fewer keyframes now. So you can use the wiggler to do all kinds of things, to make footage shake by animating the property value or the rotation value, to make things fade in and out by doing it on the opacity value, or whatever value you have applied. So it's simply going to give you a deviation on the value that you have animated, and the smoother is going to take all those keyframes and give you the exact opposite and smooth that back out.